All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Great to have each and every one of you here with us today. Today is May 17th, 2022. This is episode 156, and today we're going to take a look at trait number 8. So we're going to be taking a look at leading by example. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. Before we jump in and get started, let's say hello to our panel. Let's start with Shelley. Hello, Shelley. Welcome.
Hello, everybody. This is a great day to be learning about leading by example. Can't wait.
Great to have you here, Shelley. Welcome, welcome. And Anna, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. Yes, this is very appropriate for today.
Well, great to have you here, Anna. And I'm Karen Sherwood. And again, welcome each and every one of you who is here with us live in our Zoom room, live on Facebook, or watching via the recording. So let's jump in and take a look at trait 8 and take a look at leading by example. Let's see where it fits into the big picture. So again, as we've taken a look at in May is all about getting into the driver's seat of life with your unique insights, leading by example, and being in the now by expressing the art of living enthusiastically. So we did take a look at the driver. Again, the 2 being a big theme also for the rest of the year as well. We can see that we have the 2 currently in uniqueness. So the 2 is going to be a theme that we will continue to see throughout the rest of this year. Then we took a look at, and remember, the 2 also kicks off the purpose fulfilled through form as well. Then we took a look last week at assimilation. Again, assimilation is also defined in our past and future direction currently, so it's part of the environment as well. And we took a look at unique insights, opening the door to change. Today, we're going to take a look at contribution. We're going to take a look at the 8. The 8 is also a theme for this year as well. If we took a look at the cycle for the year, the 8 and the 14, we can see the 14 on the other side, which is the grounding and balance, are a big part of the theme for this entire year as well. Next week, we'll take a look at contemplation in the now. Contemplation in the now is a big theme for where we're moving to in 2027. So it's one of the major themes of the era of the individual. And we also have 16. We'll take a look at 16 at the end of this month, again, moving from the individual expression into the collective logic expression of enthusiasm of living life as an art. This is actually part of the era of planning, right? So all of these have significance, right? Either right now as we are going through everything in the world right now. Also, just what's really fascinating, just taking a look at, this is today's influences. We also just recently had a full lunar eclipse. I don't know if any of you were able to see the lunar eclipse. It was absolutely amazing and beautiful. I got some great pictures. I was going to add one and I forgot. But we also had a lunar eclipse, and this was some of this is part of also the imprint of the lunar eclipse. One of the things that I find fascinating is once again we have a 236 is activated currently. We have maturing energy in the 36 of crisis. We still have our what's hidden in crisis. We also have this initiation with the 5125 of, in a sense, awakening or being aware of things. We also have this 14-2 of moving in a particular direction, as well as the background being the 4323. So quite powerful energy going on right now. I don't know if all of you have felt it, but I feel like at least the last few days for me have been really crazy. It's like trying to catch up, trying to make sure that things things are putting into place and feeling like I'm way behind and just like dealing with one thing after another, things that I didn't expect, and then having to deal with it. I don't know, Anna and Shelley, or anyone who is here live in our Zoom room, if you've been experiencing that as well, and just kind of taking a look at, again, you're not alone. We're moving, purpose fulfilled through form. And so what you may see or recognize is things in form as well. So it'd just be interesting, Shelley or Anna, if you've noticed any of that as well, especially in the last few days. Yes, Anna.
I can ditto that, exactly. I mean, it's like making a left turn, right turn, left turn, straight, backwards. I mean, it's just, the movement has been unpredictable and crazy. I mean, if it's not war, it's the economy, it's the markets, it's there's disruption at hand, all in every category, which does not necessarily have to be bad, but it's crazy making.
Yes. Having to adjust on the fly. That's what I've been feeling recently, the last few days especially. Yep, exactly. How about for you, Shelley?
Oh gosh, for me, it's been more about juggling multiple things all at the same time. And I just keep flipping back and forth from one to the other. But really just kind of following my decision-making strategy on which one can I focus on right now? Which one does it feel like I have energy for right now? And luckily for us, it's just me and my husband at home here. So we're kind of isolated from lots of people at this time. We have family coming and going, but not for the last week or so. And so for me, I've got a ton of stuff done, and most of it's been focused around getting more efficient and making things more efficient. And how do I, identify all the different pieces that I want to do, and hopping from one to the other, and literally just following my energy on, okay, I have this much to do on this one right now. Boom, done. Okay, what's this one? Okay, this comes up for that, and getting that part done, and literally only getting pieces of everything done, but I'm making progress that way.
Yes.
It feels good. And I'm stopping when I'm out of energy on that thing and just moving to the next one. So so that's definitely been a theme for the last few days here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you've had a little bit of craziness and jumping from one thing to another, and having disruptions and having to adjust, that's just part of what's happening right now. So excellent. All right, so let's take a look and focus on the 8. Now, today's theme is all about the 8, and this is holding together, and this is leading by example. This is also PR when we're taking a look at the unified group or the small group dynamics. This is what gets the uniqueness out there in a way that makes a contribution. So this is, through example, the contribution of the individual is impressed upon the collective. Right? So this is still individual, yet because it also is part of the penta, it is also, in a sense, the expression of the small group as well. And ultimately, it's being able to express the uniqueness that can make a contribution that then ultimately is impressed upon the collective. People see what's unique and different, and they're like, I want that. And so this is part of what the 8 is all about. This is the basic worth realized in contributing individual efforts to group goals. Again, because it is part of the small group dynamics, even though it's individual, it's also very much tied to group goals and promoting the group and promoting how a small group can get the word out about what they do, right? It's when we take a look at the small group dynamics, 70% of the energy ultimately flows through the 8 of being able to express. In a larger group, this is also what contributes to the direction. It's part of the power base of the direction, also contributes to the direction of a larger group as well. And this is about attracting attention. So the 8 is all about other people's attention to what you are marketing. It's like the gallery owner or the art agent, right? So this is the agent that gets attention for their client, or gets attention to the art, gets attention to what's on the other side. The other side is the one, right? So we can see we have the 8. The 1 is the creative self-expression, but we're going to take a look at this and how you're affected when you're connected. But if you have the 1 but not the 8, you may be very creative. However, you can't express that creativity in a way that attracts attention from others. And so oftentimes artists need an agent, right? Or an art gallery owner to bring the attention to that creativity. And again, it's public relations in a small group dynamic. Again, it's getting the word out there. It's about getting noticed. And it quietly impacts others and shifts their orientation over time. So again, what's new isn't always accepted right away, right? This is part of the individual circuitry. However, with the 8, you lead by example. You lead by showing people how you do it and what is unique about you, and others go, that, wow, they watch for a while. And oftentimes those with the 8 can often impress on people something that they don't even know that they're making the impression on others. However, for example, someone is expressing themselves really beautifully, and they keep watching, they keep watching, they keep watching. They're like, I want to do that too. And then it's leading by example. It's both a creative and an individual leadership trait, right? So this is one of the unusual traits that not only is it a creative trait, it's also a leadership trait as well. So again, this particular trait has a lot of power, and contribution will come either through the public display of your own specific style, if you have this particular trait, or your own specific creations, or by empowering and publicly promoting others, right? So again, you're either promoting your own creative endeavors, or you have the ability to promote the creativity of others. So this is trait 8. I know I have trait 8. I don't know, Shelley or Anna, if either of you have trait 8. So neither of you have trait 8. What is your experience with a trait 8? And if there's anyone who has trait 8 who's here live in our Zoom room, or any of you that are watching via Facebook, we would love to get your feedback as well. Yes, Anna.
My kids have 8. So I have learned, I didn't really, it's not in my chart at all. But I've learned a lot about this, partly because my daughter has the full strength. My son has just the 8, but he has the 14. I have the 2. So he and I have the 214, and my daughter and he have the 1-8. Fascinating, especially because they both have it in quality 5, which sometimes you get noticed for the wrong things, that you get blamed for things. So that's always been in their younger years, that was a theme. But now that they're older, this last bullet point, my daughter has a lot of innate style, and people just copy her. It's like, oh my God. And it's been like that since she was 2 years old. She just has this natural thing she does, and people go, oh, that's so cool. And with my son, excuse me, something was distracting me there. Every time he gets noticed all the time, like I said, and sometimes for negative things. But as he's gotten older, he's tried a lot of really creative things and succeeded and failed. But people always enlist him to be a mod on a podcast or a forum or something, an agent to sell something. It's fascinating, and he's really good at it. But every time he tries to do something of his own, it doesn't work. He is actually very, has a great eye for beauty, but he's not artistic per se. So he actually can sell, he does auctions now.
Oh,
So
wow.
he can auction something for somebody else. And people, because he has this fabulous voice, people are enlisting him to do more and more of this. I just think it's fascinating. I keep telling them, sometimes it's a lonely journey to do your own individual creativity until you're noticed. But he gets noticed. Both of my kids get noticed for this in different ways. I think it's fascinating.
I love that. What a beautiful example, Anna. Yeah. I love that he does auctions. I mean, that's really PR, and it's selling, and it's getting the word out there. So it's a perfect example of how to utilize the 8. Yes, beautiful example, Anna. How about for you, Shelley?
Well, I just had a question for you, Anna. Is your son the one that also has the 14?
Yes, he does have the
Yes,
14.
because that's all about pulling resources on behalf of other people, working on behalf of other people. That when you try to do it just for yourself, it doesn't always work. So sounds like he's doing the right thing, and that he's being the PR for someone else. And
it's fascinating because I have the 2. I always attract the 14. That's how this system works.
yeah,
Thank goodness. But the 3 of us had a meltdown a few minutes ago. Not a bad one. It was just like, what? Everything got chaotic. But then we started brainstorm, we had a little conflict, but then we started doing this whole thing about possibly a family business, possibly because we did have these different traits. And my kids know what I've been trying to do, promote BG5 and regenerative business. And we started talking about crypto and decision making. And so this whole thing just ballooned out of that this conflict, and then the settling the conflict, and then these ideas started flowing. It's like, oh my goodness,
wow.
this is a whole niche that I would never have thought of except for the 14.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, that's so creative that you have all the creative channels together, and how that conflict brings new things. That's amazing. I have an example too. I have a friend, a good friend, and I've done her design. She lives in my neighborhood. I met her when I moved in. We moved in around the same time. She has this full strength, and she had quit her career for health reasons and said, I'm just going to open my own gift shop, because she'd been part of an art collective. She's a maker herself. She creates things herself. She has her own particular style. And so working with her as I've been learning this and giving her input on her design, she's getting clearer and clearer and clearer. So she remodeled her garage into a little shop, and she started taking on just only local creators, local artisans. And what she's learned from the process is that if she tries to take on a client or somebody's artwork because someone brought it to her, and if it's not her style, if she doesn't resonate with it, it won't sell. Like, it literally won't sell in her shop. And so when I really got into this, the strength of the 1/8 is she literally has to, people follow her because of her style. And if she's putting things in her shop that aren't her style, no one's going to follow it. No one's going to buy it. They don't want it. And so she's ended up turning people away. And now she's become more confident in saying no when it's not her style and it doesn't fit. She's real specific on what she likes and doesn't like. And the more she expresses herself through not only her own artwork, but the artwork of others that she collects, the more she sells. And it's just been fascinating to watch her really align with her own decision-making strategy. She's an advisor with has to hear herself talk. And that's been fascinating for me to watch that unfold and to get to work with her. and also Karen, to get to work with you, that when you're aligned and excited about the things that you're creating, things just explode. And following your own creations, being your unique self and doing the things that you're really attracted to are what helps everything grow. So that's been my observation anyway, getting to have the opportunity of having two of you in my life.
Beautiful, Shelley. Thank you so much. Yes, exactly. And it looks like both Debbie and Valerie also have the 8 as well. Would love to hear from both of you. Let's start with Debbie.
Hi, guys. So
Hey.
I've been trying to think of, just trying to think of how does this work for me? But you're right, it is for others. And so when I have like this nonprofit that I work with and work for, when it comes to like promoting the nonprofit, it's not so much promoting, it's just sharing the story. There's a lot of resonance for others where they're able to relate. So I'm just trying to think of other examples that I've noticed, but I do agree that it's not for me, it's for serving others in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Exactly. And that's, one of the interesting things about the 8 is that you can, because it's individual, you think that, it is, all for you. However, again, because of where it's placed, it can show up in again, really being a contribution and being a contribution for others. Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. And Valerie.
Yeah, I have the 8, and I mentioned I also have the 1, but it really resonates with me, just because, as I mentioned in my comment, I just recently left a job I was at the end of April. I was there for almost 9 years, and I was in a type of leadership role, but it was one that over these years has never felt aligned with me, and felt very inauthentic. And so I could tell it was really weighing down on my energy, and my strategy and authority finally let me know that it was time to just leave this job. And so I did. And so I'm currently taking some time for myself right now and just, trusting my strategy and authority during this time, and kind of deconditioning and letting, what's right come to me, and kind of trusting the process. But having the 8, I still do feel this inner sense that what I'm going to be doing next, as I'm starting to see things gradually unfold, is still going to be something where I will be a type of influential leader or something to that effect, whether I'm a consultant or something to that effect, where I can help lead others to, understand more about themselves and what's right for them, and, help shift the energy and consciousness, in our world. And so just really understanding that about myself. And as you guys were talking about, with the 8, I see it, obviously it's for others, but I see it for myself as well, just because I can only help others if I'm doing what's in alignment for me. So I see having the 8 as really, just from my own experience now, as making sure that whatever type of leadership or impact I'm bringing to others has to be in full alignment with myself, in order to have that right energy and expression come across and make that impact to others.
Yes, very beautifully said, Valerie. This ties into what Shelley was saying as well with the gift shop owner, right? If the products weren't aligned with what she really loved in her own style and her own passion, she couldn't sell it. And so the same for you, Valerie. If you're not aligned, if you don't love it, if it's not alignment and not in alignment with what and who you are, it's going to be difficult to get the word out there about it. You know, you have to be really aligned in order for it to work. Yeah, beautiful example, Valerie. Yeah, I noticed that as well. It's very interesting. I find myself in all of my different jobs and life experiences falling into the role of being the representative, the doing the PR. In when I traveled in Up With People, which is an international educational organization, we traveled around and put on a 2-hour musical show. The roles that I fell into automatically, one was as one of the MCs, right? So one of the MCs is that basically brought everyone through the show in performing, but also PR. So I would go in advance of the cast and set up everything and doing PR and getting Up With People noticed within that community. And those were the things, that's what I got offered a job with after Up With People. And when I worked at ABC Television, I was in the on-air promotion department. And so marketing, promotion, PR, getting noticed always seems to show up. And I'm doing it now with the BG5 Business Institute. So I am very familiar with it. I also have the one on the other side as well. This is an unconscious strength for me. So it always surprises me because it's unconscious that I'm not even really aware of it. And what's very interesting for me with the 1-8, I can feel the difference in my voice and when I'm speaking, when I am recognized and invited, because this is also a strength that needs to be recognized and invited, and when I'm not. When I'm not recognized and invited and I try to say something, it like I can't find the words, it doesn't quite come out, I stumble. I feel really awkward. However, when I'm in a role that's more of a leadership role, when I'm recognized and invited with that leadership as well, I can almost feel my voice is different. Like I speak and it's almost like it's coming from a different place. And again, it's very unconscious. So I love this trait. And it's been quite powerful, and also, like I said, often quite a surprise since it is unconscious for me as well.
One of
All
the
right.
things I'd love to add is, to me, this is so wonderful because I've watched you, a lot of us have, you know, for good 5 whatever years, and you have been the spearhead, the leader, the promoter, the designer, you know, the creator of the BG5 Institute, really. I mean, you put out so much together, and it has been, you know, material, you know, it's been satisfying to you, but you have brought this whole thing forward for so many. I mean, the contribution is amazing. And it's taken your 1-8 and your voice and your creativity and your leadership. And it's been a really cool journey to just witness. I'm so grateful for you and your talents.
Oh, thank you, Anna. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Here, here.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, let's take a look at the other side in how you're affected when you get connected. So taking a look at the shadow of the 8, and specifically taking a look at if you don't have the 8, especially if you have the 1, but not the 8. So the shadow of the 8 is you lack the ability to promote your creative self-expression. And especially if you have trait 1, but you don't have trait 8. So the questions are, you could be extremely creative, but you have a hard time marketing and selling your creativity. Or do you have a hard time getting recognized or noticed for your creativity as well? And the problem is that you are very creative, specifically if you have the 1, but you may find that others don't notice you, and you may have a brilliant and unique way of expressing yourself creatively, but you have a hard time marketing your own worth. And your own work as well. So the solution is that you're not designed to do that. It's such a relief, and it's so brilliant to know that if you don't have a particular trait, it's simply not your job. So if any of you don't have an 8, you know, maybe public relations, there's other traits and there's other strengths that deal with marketing and getting the word out there. So it doesn't mean that you can't market and get the word out there. However, what you may find, specifically if you don't have the 8, is working with others can help you get the word out there about your own creative expression. And you'll often find yourself naturally drawn to others that are better equipped or in a better position to promote your work for you, right? So that's why a lot of artists need an agent, right? So the artists have that creative expression, but they don't know how to get the word out there in a bigger way in order to get the attention they need to fully express their art. So again, a way to take a look at the 8 and the 1 is like the relationship between the artist and the agent. So this is the shadow of trait 8. And I know Shelley and Anna, you don't have trait 8. I don't know if either of you have the 1 either. Do either of you have the 1? No. But do you recognize for yourself, even in not having the 1, that sometimes you lack the ability to promote your creative self-expression?
Oh, yeah. I take my stuff to my friend's shop and let her market it for me.
Exactly.
Yeah. And yeah, it's interesting because it's like there's just no, I've done marketing because I have the 2644. Sales and marketing is part of my design, but in a different way. And so I can help market other people's stuff from that perspective. But when it comes to my own, I have the 360, a lot of new stuff comes through me that way. But usually it just sits on my counter or I'm handing it out to friends and family as gifts. But when I met my friend down the street with the shop, she was the one that actually made me realize that I actually am an artisan, and she's so encouraging and so is really great at helping others promote their stuff because she can see the value in it, and she'll only take on the things that are in alignment with her. And she's such a great promoter when she's got stuff that she loves. So that's how it's worked for me.
Yeah. And I love what you said, Shelley. I just wanted to highlight this is sometimes you don't even know the creative expression that you have until someone else recognizes it. Mm-hmm. And not only do they recognize it, if they really like it, they'll also get the word out there for you as well.
Yeah.
Beautiful example.
Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about over the years, I've been a sports fan, and especially in sports, I like basketball in particular, but there's been this whole shift over like decades where it used to be you just played basketball or whatever the sport was. And then the agents started getting involved and promoting individual players. And then it became sort of what do you call it? The word escapes me right now. But they would promote Nike or Adidas, or they would be these affiliate promoters for other programs. And now there's this humongous world of agents promoting a sports brand or a sports entity, or I mean, it's fascinating because now these really young kids are groomed very early on how to make money as a player, when it used to be they were just players, right. But all this all these agents really promoted their talent and then their prosperity and then this whole marketplace.
Yep. And then they get sponsorships and again, bringing the attention to them, and then they end up bringing attention to whatever the product or service is, right? They end up being PR for different brands. It'd be interesting to know that the players that are the most successful in that, if they have the 8. I've never really looked at that, but that would be fascinating to look at if the players that are most successful in promoting other brands also happen to have the 8. Interesting. Very cool. All right. Anything, anyone else in our Zoom room or anyone else in Facebook? I don't know if there's been any comments in Facebook. if there's anything else that anyone would like to contribute about the 8. And with that, I would love for all of you, including Debbie and Valerie, if you can think of for this week, as we are experiencing trait 8, what are some things that people should be aware of or pay attention to, or just to be able to take in what this 8 is all about over the next few days. So once again, if you are new to BG5, you want to find out, do you have the 8 in your design? Do others have the 8 that are around you? You can download a free chart at the BG5businessinstitute.com. You can also subscribe to the Trait of the Day, and you can also watch past episodes in our free resource library, again, on the BG5 Business Institute website. And classes are starting. So I just started my BG5 Foundation course. As I mentioned, I don't often teach the foundation course because I often teach the more advanced courses. So just taught the very first class today. So it's still time if you want to join in. We're going to be sending out an email with the replay. So if you want to listen to the replay, you can check that out. We'll also have it probably in the free resource library by tomorrow, hopefully, if you wanted to check out the first class and see if it's correct for you, and you can join us for the BG5 Foundation course. All right, so let's wrap everything up, and I would love to hear both from our panelists as well as Debbie and Valerie. What are some things that people should pay attention to this week as we are in Trait 8? Would you like to start us off, Anna?
Yeah, I would pay attention to what is getting promoted. And like Shelley was saying, she didn't even know her creativity was worth prospering over. So I would kind of put it on 2 levels. One is notice where your creativity lives, what you love doing, what you feel creative at, and if you can prosper through that or share it. It doesn't have to be money exchange, but energy exchange. And see, well, hey, maybe this is valuable to somebody else. It's just my creativity. Maybe it's valuable. So kind of make that connection. I'm just muse on that. And then in terms of the collective, watch the fear level. There's a lot of fear right now. Watch how that gets promoted versus creativity, alternative solutions, dialogue. That's what I would tune into.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Anna. Let's go to Debbie. How about for you, Debbie?
So as everybody's been talking, where I've been in creative mode all morning long. And what's been brewing, and I've just been starting to put it out there, is called the Path of Grace. So what I'm noticing is I have been in creative mode actually all day today, and it is for the benefit of others, not so much for myself, but I love to create. I love to see what shows up, and it's been pretty cool just to experience the creativity and to get excited about it, because there's times I get really excited and there's times I don't get excited. So that also tells me what's being triggered or not. So so it's to be aware of how creativity is, what Anna said, how creativity is showing up in our lives, and it doesn't have to look a specific way. It could look any way. That's what's really cool about creativity.
Yes, yes, exactly. Right. Remember, because this is a creative trait. So you may find yourself being more creative and tapping into that creative spirit, just like Debbie. Yeah, beautifully shared, Debbie. And let's go to Valerie.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm saying this from a very personal standpoint, of course, is really trusting your strategy and authority in recognizing your creativity, or kind of like what Anna was saying earlier, as far as you know, where it's coming from, what it feels like in you, and kind of getting out of your head. Because I think as humans, it can be easy to get in our head and tell ourselves what we should be doing with our lives or our creativity, and you get caught up in the shoulds and or what something should look like, or you know, how things should unfold. So really trying to step out of that mind and just really trusting what comes to you and having that response to it, that inner response, I think is going to be very key with this.
Yes. Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much, Valerie. And yes, following your decision-making strategy ultimately is the key. And also knowing when to express and when to not express. This is, you know, timing is everything. And thank you so much for your contribution, Valerie. Great to have you here. And let's go to Shelley.
Wow. Yeah, that's so amazing. And now I realize why I got up at 6 o'clock this morning and started building things on my computer. Creative mode was here. The thing that keeps jumping out for me, on top of everything everyone said, is that this is leading by example. So it requires that you jump in, and that when following your decision-making strategy, that you actually can creatively express something. Like, this is about, how does your creative expression make a contribution? Where do you see that you'd like to make a contribution, or how is it that your, whatever it is you're doing or moved to be doing, makes a contribution to others? Because it's ultimately for others that this is about. But it's about being able to express yourself as closely to yourself as you can, and then seeing where it makes a contribution. Like Anna was saying, you may not even know that what you're bringing forth has any benefit to anyone else, but trusting your decision-making strategy and following those creative impulses to lead by example. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, beautifully said, Shelley. And ultimately, that's, again, what the 8 is about, is leading by example. And so following your decision making strategy, leading by example, doing whatever it is that is authentically you and your creation, and do it in a way that you do it for yourself and not for anyone else. And at the same time, when you do that, it also makes a contribution and leaves an impression for others, right? So doing what you love, loving what you do is always really key. Beautiful. Well, it has been our absolute pleasure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you all next week. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.